editing to the beat just got easier.
What do you mean by that?
Now, this video was not sponsored, but I was sent a license to check out the plugin. I've been messing around with it for the last 3-4 days or so. I want to show you what it's capable of. Now, again, this is not sponsored. I actually have no affiliation with this company, but I'm going to leave a link to their website in the description down below for you to check it out. Now, this is a script plugin, which basically means you have to go to Workspace to activate it. I'll show you that in just a second. I got the song here. I'm going to pull it into my timeline. I'm going to go with the Workspace. Go down to Scripts, and it's Mono World Tool. I think that's pronouncing it right. And then select Beat Edit for Resolve. You're gonna get this little menu here, and you're gonna ask you to create timeline markers. You're gonna go choose File. From there, you're just gonna browse to the file where you have the song downloaded to. You're gonna click on it and hit Open. It's gonna scan the song and basically do beat detection. Then you get the option to create markers. Now you notice here it has detected grid, 98 BPM. Now I actually can double check this by going to Epidemic Sound where I got the song from. Now back on the Epidemic Sound page, I can see the BPM is actually 100 BPM. So that means the beat detection is off by 2. And back in Resolve, I'm gonna close this out. And from what I've seen, these little markers here can be off by a number or 2 due to the way that DaVinci Resolve allows you to place markers. Basically markers can't be placed too close together. Now another feature that's cool, if you go back to Workspace and Scripts, reselect the plugin, hit this little drop down menu, you have other options. Create beat click audio is actually kind of like basically a metronome. So I click on this, choose file, choose the same folder or same song rather. It does the beat detection. Then I'm going to create. It's actually going to create a whole new audio file. I'm going to save it. I'm going to hit save file. It's almost done. Just need to drag it to the timeline. So I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to go to the file, to the folder, and actually pull that audio. It'll open up your folder for you, and then it'll take you to that file. It's going to be the second one, so I'm going to bring it to my media pool. I'm going to minimize this, and then I'm going to drop this down to the second timeline. And for my time and messing around with it, it actually is way more accurate than the actual markers. If I place my mouse down here where the audio is and hold shift and scroll up with the mouse wheel, I can actually see the timeline a little bit better. And spots like this right here where the beat detection, I think, kind of gets off by those 2. As you can see here, the markers and this little mark here, this little line up perfectly with each other. But if you go to this one here, they don't. If you hit the left and right arrow, because of the way the spacing is, moving frame to frame, you can never actually line it up directly with one another. So that's not really the fault of the beat detection. From what I can tell, it's just kind of like a little iffy thing with DaVinci Resolve. I would assume that the colors of these markers actually mean something, but I'm not for sure. But I do know the marker is green for every 1/8 of a count. Typically with music, you count by 4. So if you can play the audio, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you saw it's 1. 4 is usually about this kind of lime greenish color, and then the 1/8 is green. And if I hold Alt and shrink in my timeline by scrolling down the mouse wheel, and so you'll notice this green, this kind of like lime green and green all throughout. And so I'm not sure exactly what the other colors mean, but green is every 1/8 of a count. Now using this tool, you can go, say for instance, go into effects, grab your adjustment clip. You can actually place these in between your clips. So if I hold Alt and scroll back up on the mouse wheel, I can place these right in between these 2. And if you got snapping on, which is a little magnet here, I got it off, I'm gonna cut it back on. The clip will actually snap to that marker. You can place adjustment clips throughout your timeline if you want. With the adjustment clip highlighted, you can use the shortcut key F11 if I'm not mistaken. You're gonna place the adjustment clip with your actual footage. So now I got some footage on the timeline. Say for instance, I want a particular clip. I hit I and O to actually pick my in and out points. With this clip highlighted, I can hit F11. It will swap out the adjustment clip for my actual footage. And then if I need to further correct the timing of this, I can hit T on the keyboard and bring up the trim tool. If I place this at the top of my clip, I can actually move this back and forward to actually see the footage. Therefore, I can move the footage around, but also maintain this timing that I've already got set in between these 2 clips. Another quick tip as well. Now the audio from my clip is actually clipping into the song. To keep that from happening, just make sure you lock your timeline before dropping your footage. So what I can actually do now is I'm gonna hit A to go back to my selection tool. I'm gonna hold Alt on the keyboard, select the audio. I'm gonna hit backspace to delete that. Then I can grab the beginning of my song and just stretch it back out. Now the plugin is not perfect. As you can see in this example, it was actually off by 2 BPMs, but nevertheless, the process is actually quicker than the one I went in this video, where you pretty much have to know the BPM to actually use the feature, which is the DaVinci Resolve 18.1 feature. Now in my time using the plugin, ironically enough, in this video, it's the only time I noticed that the BPM was off compared to a song I use in Epidemic Sound. Now when I use it on songs that I didn't know the BPM from, like a YouTube clip or something from Instagram, it gave me a BPM, and whether or not that BPM was accurate, I can't really say, but it did make it easier to follow along with the beat as far as creating the edit. Now I noticed in all my testing that the markers can be a little bit off in comparison to the audio, like metronome clicks. And those are more or less more spot on in my testing, and so that alone does save a lot of time. There's actually more features to this, but if you want to know more, I'll leave a link in the description. They do have their own YouTube video that came out. It actually goes a little bit more in detail about it as well, so check that out, and I'll see you in the next video.